New acting executive secretary stroke chief executive officer, Mr. Hassan Bello.
Thank you very
Good
much.
morning. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Now tell us exactly, in what way does the Shippers Council look after the interests of importers as well as exporters?
Well, the Shippers Council, as you rightly pointed out, was set up in 1978. It's a recommendation of the United Nations to be a countervailing force in shipping. That is to study the cost of shipping, to make sure that shipping is not only accessible, available, but is also affordable.
Okay.
So it is a kind of a regulator right from the beginning to mediate between the suppliers of shipping services and those who use the shipping services. And when we talk about suppliers, we are talking about the big shipping companies, we are talking about the banks, the insurance, the terminal operators, the shipping companies. They are very big, they are powerful. Then on the other side, the demand side, are the shippers, those who import goods or who export them. So there are two parties to shipping, and you need a balance, and that's what Shippers Council does.
Now tell me, if I were an importer, for instance, in what way would I use your services?
You will use our services because shipping is intricate. There are a lot of problems during shipment. Sometimes the goods you import or export will get missing on board the ship. Sometimes the number of equipments or cargo you import will not come.
Okay, let's say I'm an importer of milk.
Yeah.
So I bring in milk on a fairly regular basis, and I bring them in by shiploads.
Yes.
So I come to you, and what do I say to you?
You said to me that charges that were, given to me are high. They are not specified.
Okay.
You come to Shippers Council and said, instead of 30 cartons of milk, I've only received 20.
Okay.
You came to me and said there was delay on the high sea and the milk got bad.
Okay.
So that's what the Shippers Council does, is to intervene on behalf of the importer or exporter with the shipping companies, with the carriers, make sure there is a restitution and there is a remedy. We redress the complaints of shippers.
So the shippers are those who are the importers and exporters.
Exactly.
And this council is for them,
It's
not
for them.
necessarily for those who own the ships and...
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily. But because of change, in custom of trade, international trade, sometimes Shippers Council is also, kind of circumstances will make Shippers Council intervene just to bring a balance, to bring equilibrium. So sometimes we also represent the interests of those shipping providers of services.
So where are the most disturbing issues or challenges for shippers in terms of practices and what the shipping companies do?
Yeah,
what are the greatest challenges?
The greatest challenges is tariff, not the freight. Freight are fairly stable, but what we have is tariffs, usually charged by the shipping companies and the terminal operators. Now, these charges are sometimes arbitrarily leveled. They are unilaterally decided by the shipping companies. And
is there a regulation against that?
Yes,
or
there is
to
a regulation.
Manage that?
Yeah, the regulation, Nigerian Shippers Council Import-Export Regulations on Local Shipping Charges, made pass 1 to Nigerian Shippers Council Act, said no charges will be leveled unless it is negotiated with Nigerian Shippers Council. Sometimes we don't have that, we have variant. For example, there are about 14 charges leveled, but intervention of Nigerian Shippers Council, now we have 6, that is by the shipping companies. The same charges by terminal operators, now we have 6 recognized charges. And this is what we do on daily basis. But these charges cannot be fixed because of, the volatility of the market and so many other factors. But what we are saying is, if you want to increase these charges, if you want to vary these charges, you must come to Nigerian Shippers Council and negotiate.
What power has the Shippers Council got to enforce what it believes are its the authority that is conferred on it by government? What powers have you got?
The powers
to
is
enforce
given
it?
by the Act itself.
Yeah.
The Act makes it compulsory for service providers to come to Shippers Council if they want to increase these charges. If they don't do that, there are penal consequences. But, as it is with shipping, we always like to moderate these things. Between 2008 to now, we have stemmed, so many charges, are not being leveled. And I think this is just the beginning. But Nigerian Shippers Council is empowered by law to check these charges.
So do you go to the police, for example, to say this person is charged way too much and we've tried to negotiate and they're not doing what they're supposed to do?
No.
Or how do you enforce?
No,
I'm looking at the area of enforcement now.
Yeah, enforcement is the meetings. We've always have, regular meetings. And the Ministry of Transport intervenes, directly to stop these charges. As I told you, 14 charges in 2009, they have been reduced to 6 now.
So in terms of fair practice then, how will a shipper be able to secure fair practice and fairness in the industry?
Yes, because it takes two to tango, as they said. And the cargo is the most important thing, in shipping. The terminal operators, the shipping companies, cannot survive if there is no cargo. So Nigerian Shippers Council are the vanguard, but the most important thing is we enlighten the shippers themselves, because it's negotiation. Without enlightenment, without the education, without information available to shippers, he cannot even know what these charges are. So this is one of the things. Unless you inform, educate, enlighten the shipper, he may not be able to, know that this is what his rights are. So this is the first thing we do. Secondly, enlightenment also in the Shippers Council itself, because shipping is not a local thing, it's international. We look at what is the best practice in other areas, and we try to force, or let me say, negotiate with the providers so that this is also applicable to Nigeria.
Now, do all Nigerian importers and exporters know of the existence of the Shippers Council, and do they avail themselves of the services?
Yes, many, let me say, substantial number of shippers, importers.
The big ones?
Even the smaller ones.
Even the smaller ones?
Yes, we have an average of 10 complaints a day. In between 2011 and now, we have saved up to 200 million for small importers. This is because of the demurrage they are forced to pay. This is because of certain charges, and we always intervene. And we have got cooperation from the terminal operators, from the shipping companies. Mostly these things are refunded, but there are still, some problems.
Now, this is just a scenario that I want to paint, which just to illustrate a question. If I were, for instance, importing one car into Nigeria, and I have a problem at the port when the car comes here, can I come to the Shippers Council and make a complaint?
That's the best place to come.
Oh.
And we have received so many.
For just one person making just one-off
car,
one-off importation?
One-off importation, we have received them. Oh. We have also intervened on large, shippers.
Yes.
Consignment. The Niger Delta Power Holding Company, for example, they are refunded about 600 million because of intervention of Nigerian Shippers Council. So many of these things we have intervened, and we have already we've got redress. We have been commended severally in letters and in other fora for our intervention.
Does the shipper pay for that service?
Yes, well, not directly. It's not one-on-one charge, no. But the shipper is funding Nigerian Shippers Council. The source of fund is a levy paid by the shipper for every import or export.
What about the individual then? If I just have one car from America, would I then be paying to Shippers Council?
No, it's not a fee that we charge directly. No, you don't.
Okay.
No.
So when I come to complain about my single car, I don't pay anything?
No, you don't pay anything. Even if you complain about anything, you don't. It's not the charges, okay, we have solved your complaint, pay this. No, we don't do that. It is the government, agency, set up purposely to redress this.
What's the percentage of shipping companies that are actually local and those that are international, plying the routes of Nigeria through to other seaways?
Well, when you talk about shipping companies, you are talking about representative of carriers in Europe. They are mostly foreign you know, the terminal
So
operators.
they're just representative here.
Yeah,
they're
they are
not
representative, you know, because the carriers, you know, they can't come here, so they have a shipping companies that represent them.